Dear future self, it's me again, the guy you buried way back when. That's a lyric that's been stuck in my head lately. It's by Caro Caro Bonito, a band I've been revisiting. A lot of their music is nostalgic, looking into the past, memories associated with growing up and becoming an adult. But in this song, they look forward to the future. A future that you will one day, no doubt, inhabit. Not as the person you are now, but the person you will be, your future self. We often think about how the person we are today shapes the person we are in the future, but I think the person we are in the future can also shape the person we are today, and in ways that benefit us tremendously. I wish I was talking about some really cool time loop skip, going back into your own past to push yourself out of the way of a speeding train, ignoring the plot holes of how that wouldn't work, but this is a lot more grounded in reality. Let me explain. So what do I mean, and what is your future self? Is it just you with more experience and wisdom? Do you retain your core beliefs and values? They say it takes your cells 7 to 10 years to completely replace themselves with the exception of your neurons. And we are in a sense under constant renovation and reinvention. I don't know that I believe I will be the same person I am in 7 to 10 years, even though I'll have the same neurons. I will inevitably be shaped like a coastline, reformed and restructured by the waves enacting their unpredictable will on me. My experiences will no doubt transform the person I am now into my future self, in the same way that I am surely a far cry from the person I was just last year. Or I'll be chilling on my desk eating pizza. I don't know. It is scary and it is strange to imagine the type of person you'll become. I mean, when I was a child, I had no idea I'd become this hot and cool and awesome. But I did. It is scary and strange to recognize the responsibility that falls on your shoulders to make sure your future self is taken care of. After all, the actions you take today will bring you the results of tomorrow. For the longest time, thinking of this stranger, the strange me that I have yet to meet, has filled me with anxiety. Will I like them? Will they look back and like me? Will I be proud of them? Would they tell tales about me after much drink and beam in the ways that you beam at a friend's accomplishments? Or would they shy away from telling people our grand plan to become best friends with Zoro from One Piece? Just the thought of these questions was overwhelming. I have this habit, when I start freaking out, I tell myself I live in the future, and in the moment it brings me peace, because I realize I am conscious in the future. Whatever I'm going through now at some point will feel like a distant memory. And I think of all the other times I've told myself I live in the future, and I think about how much I've overcome, how I am no longer conscious in those moments of suffering, but I am conscious now. I am my past self, future self, and in the same way, it brings me great peace to know I will exist in the future. I am my future self's past self. Car broke down, I live in the future, it's fixed. Heartbroken, I live in the future, it's healed. Not best friends with Zoro from One Piece, I live in the future where, well, you get it. But it has only been recently that I realized not only do I affect the outcome of my future self, but my future self affects the outcomes of my present. And what I mean by that is this. Sometimes I picture myself in the future, and I think about the things I would like, the things I would like to feel. I would like to feel fulfilled in these ways. I would like to make these songs. I would like to be a good friend. I would like to be someone I'm proud of. I would like to provide. I would like to have a place to live that is my own. I would like to have a job that fulfills me. And I think about these things. And I put myself in the shoes of me in the future and think about what it took for me to get there. For example, what did it take for me to have a job that fulfills me? Like the knight puts the king in check on a chessboard. Given my situation, what steps did I take to get to where I am? What risks did I take? What pieces on the board did I have to sacrifice? I retrace my steps to where I am today, and from today, I carry out the plan that takes me to the future I want. A future with Zoro from One Piece. You can try this for yourself. Get a piece of paper and write down what you hope for from your future self. Take some time to visualize it and study it. What does it feel like in your body to have the things you want? For example, let's say you've always dreamed of writing a book. That's the goal. What steps did you take to end up with that goal? Did your book just pop up on store shelves? Or did you have to find a publisher? How did you find a publisher? Did you just happen to know one? Or did you pitch your manuscript around? Did you have a manuscript? This is really oversimplifying things, but I think you get the idea. You can trace your steps back to the present day, to where you are today, and you can chart the course forward. Doing this means you nurture and foster a relationship with your future self. You need to trust yourself in the future, just like the you in the future needs to trust you now. That means you have to have your back. You have to know that you trust your own word. If you say you'll do something, you have to do it. You can't just say you'll organize your desk on the weekend, then not organize your desk on the weekend. If you say you're going to be somewhere by a certain time, try to be there. If you make a promise, keep it. Because if you can't trust you'll follow through on your own actions, how can your future self trust you? And give yourself some grace with this. It's not easy to be on top of things all the time, but I think it's enough to make the effort. I want to talk a little bit more off the cuff about how we build trust with ourselves. I'm actually recording this after I originally recorded this. Well, I mean the original thing I recorded, because I just thought it was really important. I think I really should have written a script for this part. I think part of trusting yourself means setting realistic goals with yourself. It's almost like practice. Let's say you're getting really into tennis. You're not just gonna pull up to Wimbledon and be like, hey, I watched Challengers and I'm ready to rumble, and throw a guy at me, throw a woman at me, put me in a vicious love triangle, and let's see what happens. Let's play this out. It means like, okay, I'm gonna sign up for tennis lessons, and my goal is I want to hit the ball 80% of the time for the first bit that I'm playing. When you set a realistic goal with yourself and you work hard to achieve it, you are building trust with yourself, because you are proving to yourself that you can do something you set your mind to. For example, if I set my mind to going to the fridge right now and getting an apple and eating it, and I go do that, I'm proving to myself I can do what I say I can do. And who doesn't love a dependable person, Actually, hold on 1 second. Hi, I'm back. Yeah, I mean, look, I just showed myself that I'm a dependable person. I just got an apple, right? And you don't have to follow through on 100% of the things you say. I mean, some things just become unreasonable, Let's say you set the very ambitious and noble goal of I'm going to pay off my parents' mortgage. This is a huge goal, first off. Second off, you would be totally okay to be like, actually, I can't do this month's payment, because if I don't, I'm going to have nothing to eat. You know what I mean? And a huge pillar of self-trust is, this was the last video that I made that we talked about. Well, I talked at you about. It's, part of loving yourself. And I'm not going to rehash the topic here. If you want to trust yourself, you have to love yourself. That means you have to treat yourself like a friend, and you have to treat yourself with kindness and respect. You got to give yourself grace and leniency. Part of trusting yourself also means knowing your own boundaries. Like, what are you willing to tolerate? What are you willing to say no to for the sake of your future self? Like, let's say, for example, you're allergic to apples. Then you should know not to go eat apples, because your future self won't be around. You'll be dead. That was like a really oversimplistic description, but you know what I mean. Anyways, I'm gonna go back to the scripted stuff now. See you. I also want to say, it's important not to let this take you away from your present. You can't spend all your time planning and thinking about what hasn't happened yet. There's this old saying that being depressed is living in the past and being anxious is living in the future. You still need to enjoy the moment. So just consider this a guideline when you feel like you don't have much direction. Think of this as looking up directions for your road trip on the GPS, but be sure to take in the views. That coastline you see might just become you. In the process of changing, becoming who you are meant to become, leave some room for the detours. There's often so much we didn't even know we wanted to see until we see it. Thanks for watching. Okay, bye.